And we are back.
We're back, bumble bitches.
You've got a black blanket over the chair to hide the white of the chair.
No, it's because I have on this like stripey.
Oh, and you don't want to blend in?
No, it's my back is exposed and it's chilly.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you're just a whole vibe over there.
I am. I'm wearing my Jengos.
With like goth boots.
Yeah.
A fur coat.
Yeah. I felt very good walking around today. I didn't wear the fur coat out, but
No.
yeah, it's too hot outside for that.
Yes, it is. I'm surprised it wasn't too hot for those corduroy Jinkos. All right, so today this is the first Friday that we're doing a Patreon specific video.
Ooh, how exciting. Hi, guys.
Right? And though it may end up making it to YouTube at some point, depending on how the conversation goes, I had something that came to my mind today, and this episode is gonna be called "Be the Creator." Okay. All right. This has nothing to do with the I versus U's. This is just a standalone thing that will probably not go anywhere. But I'm going to pose the question to you.
Okay.
And I want you to answer when I say "Be the Creator." What does that mean to you? How do you take that right now in your life?
Right now,
or how does it make you feel?
So just hearing the phrase "be the creator," there is excitement. There is possibility. With being a creator, there comes with being a creator comes gaining knowledge. Did I say that? That sentence doesn't sound right to me. I'm trying to think and speak at the same time.
No, that's accurate.
Okay.
And we're going to come back to that. That's actually very accurate.
Yeah. Adventure.
Okay. Why adventure?
Because in creating something, you're making something out of nothing, right? So first thing that comes to my mind is my painting. I like doing watercolor paintings. And I have all of these ingredients. I have the paints, I have the brush, the water, my paper towels. But the final result is something that unless my hand is put to paper, it's not going to be there. And that's exciting to me.
Okay. Is there any more to that, or?
More do you mean?
Well, you just stopped and looked at me, and I don't want to interrupt you. So if you're having thoughts and there's more to it, I'm going to wait. Otherwise, I'm going to pick my phone up.
There's a lot.
So run with it.
When I hear creator, I know some people are not religious, and I understand that. Just me, Peach. I think of like an all-powerful being who looks at a rainforest and is like, that's beautiful. I created that. In a deeper, more spiritual meaning, I suppose.
Okay. I actually get that when we do landscape photography.
Yeah.
Yep. I posed this question not only to TikTok, but then posted the TikTok to the Discord. Mm-hmm. So let's go to Discord first and see if anybody's responded, because this is a Patreon video. I guess I didn't give enough time there. Okay, so because I just posted right before we came in here.
Oh, not in Discord?
Yeah. So no, I posted it to Discord, but it was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, gotcha.
And there was another conversation going, so I don't think people are watching it. However, they might have responded here. Jenna, who is one of our moderators in Discord, had replied. She was the very first one on my list. And she wrote, "I create ripples in my life with every decision and action I make, comma. They touch everything and everyone around me. I am in control, therefore every consequence, be it good or bad, is mine and mine alone."
Yep.
It's good, right? Somebody else wrote, "My environment being a product of me instead of me being a product of my environment. Everything I think, say, or do creates the lens, perspective in which I interpret this life." That was from Lone Wolf Gypsy on TikTok. I fucking love that, right? There's a couple of them that were good. There was a couple of them that I commented on, and I'm going to just pick the ones that I commented on. This one said, "I interpret it as being the person introducing ideas, thoughts, plans, or goals for both of us, and being the lead of most decisions or plans involved with us, creating a space for us to feel safe in." I love the team aspect of that. That was very dope for me.
It's crazy to hear people's responses because it's based on their life experiences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And I'm going to read this last one just because I'm going to read two more. I'm going to read the bad one last. This one says, the creator, you speak either positive or negative things over your life with your words. You tell yourself you're a failure. Guess what you're going to be? You get me? And I was like, speak it into existence.
Yeah.
The only comment out of 50 comments that I've gotten so far on this video that I didn't fuck with was one.
Okay.
Because, and this is going to lead into the conversation, he wrote, not an attack, which if you have to write that, you already have a shitty disposition and you know it.
Right.
And you don't know how to sugarcoat it. So you have to preface that to let me know that you're not trying to be.
Right.
But be the creator as a quote kind of sounds like that macho man alpha of the pack propaganda, and I loathe that Andrew Tate mentality.
Oh, wow.
Be the creator, take change of your life, and create opportunities for improvement like I didn't do that already. Like humans don't have facets or strengths and weaknesses that exist at the same time. To my reply has nothing to do with that. My thought process came from the innocence of a child at play, which we're going to get into, which is why I didn't want people to read the comments first. I wanted perspectives because he just showed me
He did.
the way he views life, the lens he views life through. I then wrote in a second comment, however, I agree with the mindset that you are disagreeing with. So our children at 5 and 6 years old will play kitchen outside. They have destroyed plants.
Oh, God.
Making mud. They've dug holes in the yard, digging for treasure. They are the epitome of unscathed creativity. And though we may get frustrated and you may cry that they've ripped one of your favorite plants out by the roots and to bury one of their toys and dig for treasure, they don't understand that they're destroying in their mind. They are creating.
Right.
They have created a world that in that moment they live in. And as parents, we have the opportunity to nurture that or destroy it. And by the time that most kids make it to school, that creativity has already been suppressed to a degree. I think about the kids and the way that they make believe and the way they play pretend and how a straw is our 6-year-old son's favorite toys. He collects them, sticks them together.
They're dinosaurs and airplanes and...
It's a whole thing, right? Because his creativity has not been squashed yet.
Right.
I have to check this real quick. To me, being the creator is, and you don't have to relate this to God. You can relate to it as the universe, but we are made in God's image. I believe that. Whatever your God is, your God represents you as somehow, right?
Right.
And you look at every religion on the planet, there is a form of that in man, right? Whether they've bred half deities or whatever. They have spoken things into existence. So you get to be made in God's image and you get to speak things into existence. I believe that because we are made in God's image, we have power in our lives to do these things.
I agree with that.
I understand that there are people out there who are Christian who are going to say that you should give it to God and let them do everything. As a father dealing with a son, I don't want to have to do everything for my son. I want my son to grow into a good man and I want him to figure life out. And when he really fucking needs the help, I want to step in to help. Right? So that's my view on all of that. I'm not going to come back to that, but I believe that there is a power in the way that we choose to speak about our lives.
Correct.
I believe that as parents, we are responsible for cultivating the creator in our children because we are naturally creative. Kids can't draw, but if you give them a crayon and paper and they realize that it creates a color on that paper, they create.
Yeah.
You can nurture that creativity and you can tell them that looks really good. And you can give them tips if you're an artist to help them improve. People who can draw didn't just be able to create. They had to understand how to create shapes and how to make things work to structure a drawing. Everyone can draw. They have to put the work in to be able to draw. It is no different than learning to build a house, learning to create a podcast, learning to do photography, paint, garden, make tinctures, soaps. Everything that you do in life is something that you've had to learn to do. Now, there are creative limits, and that's based off of your own imagination, But when you were little, you had an imagination. So we all have the ability to create the life that we want. Do you have anything on that before I move on?
Let me process all of it and think, because yes, I've thought of things.
Okay.
I agree with everything that you said in regards to being made in God's image, and we speak things into fruition. I fully believe that. I have the life I've always wanted, and it's because I believed that one day it would happen. I'm really hung up on all the different perspective and cognitive biases in regards to the answers to your questions, or to your question.
Yeah. I have another one I'm going to read from somebody else that we know.
Yeah. I was once that person was like, what's the point? Clearly, I have no influence over anything in my life because work sucks, home life sucks, my partner sucks, food sucks. Well, was I cooking dinner? No.
Right. Well, you were eating poison.
Right. Was I trying to work on my relationship? No, it was a battleground. Was I putting my best foot forward at work, or was I kind of a shitty employee? I very much had the air of, I don't want to be here.
You know that most artists go through that with their art.
Yeah.
I suck. Why bother? This isn't worth doing. I can't do this. And you're speaking it. Whether it's in your mind or you're speaking it out loud, you are speaking it. You're telling yourself that you can't. And you're going to believe that. There's a very cliche saying that says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Right.
I believe that's from...
Master Oogway?
No. It's from Palo Alto and The Alchemist, I believe. And I might be wrong on that. But I believe that. I believe that if you believe in yourself. So... I'm gonna ramble. Was there anything else? I don't want to cut you off.
I don't remember. It's okay.
On the creative thing, my generation was told you can be anything you want to be. And we were always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? Like our parents really instilled it in us that if we work hard, we can get things and we can do the things we want to do. And this new generation doesn't have that mindset. The younger generation in the mid-20s doesn't believe that hard work is going to get them anywhere. That's why the quiet quitting has become a thing. It's why people no longer really chase their dreams. And for people who do chase their dreams, we'll take photography for example, because this is my existence. This is my reality for photography. I love taking photos. I love creating the composition and editing and all of it. But I started relying on the opinions of others about my creative outlet, and it destroyed my love for it because I love what I was doing. And because other people didn't see it, or it didn't blow up, or it wasn't getting shared, and I wasn't winning awards, even though people were buying my prints and they're hung up in airports. And I did the photography thing. I quit. I stopped creating on a massive scale my passion because it was fun and I loved it, because other people weren't getting the dopamine response that I was getting from it. And it made me feel like I was failing as a creative. My creative design, if you want to call it that, my expressiveness, I put in the hands of people who were not relevant in my life, did not exist in my life in any way, shape, or form. And I allowed that corruption to spread like a poison. And it made me not want to do it anymore. Because I put the validation in others. As a child, when you are learning to create, the validation in your creation comes from your parents. It comes from the people who are supposed to lift you up, tell you that you're doing a great job, and I love it, and that's the best stick figure horse donkey I've ever seen in my life. It looks like scribble. You don't say that to them. You tell them, great job, draw me another one. And then you hang them on your fridge until they get better, and then you replace the one on the fridge, and it shows that you're actually cultivating that mindset in them. If you tell your kid you can't draw, you can't play an instrument, you can't sing, you are crushing their belief in themselves, not just as a creative, but now they're questioning their ability to control their life. I'm really stuck on all of that. I have a whole bunch of other notes. So let's talk about that, because we're 15 minutes in and I haven't shut the fuck up. I feel like I'm leading, and I don't want to do that. I want to have a discussion with you about this.
Okay.
So how does that make you feel? Where do you land on all of that?
I agree with all of that. Can we start putting the kids' pictures on the fridge now?
I would rather stick it other places than the fridge.
Okay, can I have a designated wall to showcase art, like a gallery?
In the hallway.
Perfect. Like the hallway over here by
Yeah.
the kitchen?
I can't do the refrigerator clutter. The magnets on the fridge have to be aligned.
Gotcha.
It's like my whiskey collection.
Okay.
I can't, because it's a pivotal piece in your house. Like even the alphabet that we have below.
Stresses you out.
It does. It really fucking does.
Okay.
And I find myself obsessively like starting to adjust. I have to avoid the refrigerator because of it. It's really fucking weird the way that my brain obsesses over things.
I can get them like little magnet boards for their bedrooms.
Yeah.
That would work. Get it off the fridge and they can still play with it.
Yeah.
But I agree with everything that you said about cultivating young minds. It is, I believe, 100%. I'm not going to say one. Okay, scratch that. There are multiple pivotal points in the evolution of being a human, right? At a certain point in development, our parents' opinions of us matter a great deal.
Mhm.
And then as we age, it becomes our friends and our peers. And then from there, it turns into, for most, a societal fear of judgment. There are times now we have millions of eyes on us at this point.
It is so fucking stressful.
And there are still times where I'm going to cycle through like 4 or 5 outfits because I don't want to hear the shitty things that people have to say.
Yeah. Isn't it, you know how crazy it is that the things that we hear is so different between the two of us?
Yeah.
Because they know the things that get to us. So they use that
Yeah.
to try to get
They
us to
tailor
go
it.
away. Right.
Yeah.
There's, and that speaks to their own misery and their own lack of being able to create. Right.
I love creating with my outfits, something that I never did because it started with home. You're not going to wear that. Not in my house. You're not going to dress that way because I don't like it. And then getting into high school, being judged for the way that you dressed. Well, now you're an outcast because you dress that way.
Right. You don't fit into the opinions of others.
Right. And then into adulthood, it just gets more vicious.
It does. Well, I think it's harder in high school.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think that people that don't mature past that high school mentality become the ones who are really bad during adulthood.
Yeah, the vicious ones.
But they don't do that in real life because there's threat to bodily harm.
Oh, yeah.
So it's different when there's a screen in front of them.
But I've always wanted to get super creative with my outfits and have fun and wear a mob boss,
Right.
wife,
Fur
jacket.
coat.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
not real
great.
fur, guys.
It's not. It's faux fur. But it's so insulating. I feel great right now.
But you're able to do that because you know that I'm not going to judge you in it.
Right. You facilitate my creativity. And even though you might laugh at it, he saw this and died.
I did. I laughed. It's funny to me.
Right. But you were like, does it make you happy? And I was like, yeah, it's something I've always wanted. I'm going to start fucking crying.
It's okay. It's not a podcast, so you do.
And you're like, I'm glad you're happy, babe. And it's now I'm emotional. Before we got together, I did not cultivate my own creativity. I absorbed everybody's negative thoughts and opinions and judgments about me and shames. And I squandered my own, I don't want to say dreams because it's not dreams, but my own
Aspirations.
aspirations of things that would get me excited. I love having a new idea and wanting to go, how can I piece together? How cheap can I do this for and still have it? I don't know. That's the poverty in me, I guess. I get Because in my childhood, I had to get really creative on building things because we didn't have $40 for me to go and buy all the supplies that I needed. So I had to makeshift it, and I would get super stoked when I made it. And carrying that into adulthood, yeah, I could buy that thing. But I take pride in hand making something. That's why I like making dinners. That feeling of excitement, and there's always a frustration when it comes to creativity, but I enjoy that frustration because once you overcome that bitch, now I'm a sprint until the next obstacle and that next frustration, and I get to do it all over again.
Which also makes you slow down.
It does. And it makes you reevaluate. That's why I deleted my whole self-care or the self
help journal.
Yeah.
Which makes sense though.
Right. I went back and I reevaluated. I'm like, this is not good at all. This is not the direction I want to be going in at all.
That's evolution.
It is evolution. And it was something else that you cultivated. You were like, I can't believe you did that.
I couldn't either, because you could have used that as a skeleton to move to the next thing.
I did.
But you also know that I don't like it when you don't finish your art.
Yeah, you have gotten on me a lot about that.
Shit pisses me off so much when you quit. And just to be clear, the reason that it bothers me is because you are going to make mistakes, and if you scrap it and start over, you're not going to learn to fix the mistakes.
Right.
And that's what art is. Mm-hmm. It's learning how to not make the mistakes again by trying to fix what you've got and like overcoming those obstacles. Also, before you move on, running at full sprint and hitting an obstacle and being forced to slow down is the universe kicking you off of your pedestal, destroying your ego to the point where you are forced to think and realize that you're not there yet.
Right.
Because if you don't ever have your ego checked, you're never going to move forward. You're going to get to that obstacle and be like, I don't need to overcome this. I'm fucking dope as shit. Fuck that obstacle. And you're going to stay right there.
You're not going to move forward, but you're also going to cut off your access to water that's going to continue to nourish what you have.
Yep. There's a whole lot of things that can be said about that.
Right. Our children did watercolor painting for the first time the other day. And I was so stoked about what they did. I know you hate things on the refrigerator, so I clipped it and I put it on the very bottom of the fridge just to show them that I was super excited about it. And I was standing in the kitchen a few hours later cooking dinner, and our daughter walks up to me and she goes, Mommy, I just want you to know that I threw my painting away. And it took me a second to register what she said, and I looked at the refrigerator and I only saw her brothers, and I was like, you did what? And she was like, I threw it away because it wasn't good enough. And I was devastated.
She drew something for you 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, and you had it on the end table, and she was in bed and you were in the bathroom, and she came out and grabbed it. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I want this. And I'm like, you gave it to your mom. She's like, yeah, and I'm like, but nothing. You drew it for your mom and you gave it to your mom, put it back on the end table.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let her take it into her bedroom because I didn't know what she was going to do with it. She could have thrown it away. She could have ripped it up. She could have drawn on it more. But
she's probably going to add to it. She
does
that.
And that's fine, because I believe that art is only done when you decide that you're done with it.
Yeah.
Because your art can only go to your current level of mastery. And then beyond that, it's exploration. And exploration is where we grow. But a lot of people will go, okay, I'm happy with this right now, and just put it down and never come back to it because they've moved on to other projects. When I speak to the creator in all of you, I don't mean art. I mean everything in your life.
Everything.
I'm using art as a metaphor right now.
Yeah, this was the example because it is the most widely understood.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you have 900 fucking projects going on, soap lines, journals.
Oh my gosh. You want to know all the things that I'm creating in my life right now?
Sure.
So I'm working on creating a family cookbook for just me to have and maybe bestow upon my favorite great-grandchild on my deathbed. I am also creating 2 separate cookbooks for our children, so that way when they move out, they have like struggle meal recipes. And then, of course, like family recipes that they can have later on.
Yeah, put some prison meals in there.
Yeah, we can, definitely. I'm also working on creating a garden to grow our own food. I am working on creating cooking videos for our Patreon. I'm working on creating makeup conspiracy videos. I am working on crocheting. I'm working on watercolor painting. I am working on learning French and Thai. I am working on getting back into my saxophone. That's just 10 things.
Right. But those 10 things compiled is what makes you who you are.
Right.
Right. And all of those projects can be sat down and come back to at any time.
Yeah.
And as you get better at French and you feel like you've got the handle on French, maybe you'll lean more into Thai, or maybe you'll actually start a pen pal voice chat with somebody who actually speaks French to be able to work on your dialect. There are things that are going to come of this. Setting your art down and coming back to it when you have a better understanding because you really like the painting is a good thing. Because if you're really happy with it right now and you fuck up 3 other paintings that were mediocre and then you figure out how to fix your fuck ups and then you can apply that new technique to the painting that has been sitting there, that's growth, right?
Right.
I want to go back to the hive mindset.
Okay.
That starts in the home.
It does.
Right? If you have 2 parents that are not creative, but have very high expectations of what a creative outlet should look like, and they crush that before it ever becomes a thing, you now have children who can't create. That is the hive mind. Then they go to school, which is a government-run indoctrination system. The entire reason for schools is to create factory workers.
Right.
You guys are fucking human droids. Like,
pass a test so you can move on.
learn to remember what's going to be on the test, not how to think critically about what's being tested.
Right.
So then you get the hive mind from the teachers, and then as the friend groups start, you start to see the division into smaller hive mind sections.
Right.
And those hive mind sections, when are small like that, suppress even further, because now you're being controlled by groupthink. And we know from like studies, every single time there's mob mentality, the overall IQ of the mob becomes less than the average intelligence.
Correct.
So now you're operating on a hive mind at a lower than optimal level. And that's the hive that you've chose to be around. That is your opinions that you are basing your reality around. You look at the emo kids, goth kids, you look at the preppy kids, all of those
the cheerleaders, the jocks.
Right. All of those groups become hive mind. They start talking alike. They get in trouble the same way. The things that are cool are all cool to all of them.
They probably, like, if one smokes, they probably all smoke.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes that need to fit in. I believe that need to fit in is enhanced when creativity is killed in our children. What were you going to say?
It's kind of like a branch off of the current conversation. So I'm gonna remember it if you want to.
Go ahead.
Keep going. Have you heard about I can't remember what college it was, but there was a prison experiment done where they took college students so it was an experiment about psychology and human behavior. So I believe they had 4 prisoners and they had 4 guards, and they were chosen at random for these roles. And I think the experiment lasted like 3 days. The guards over the 3 days, don't quote me on that because I could be incorrect on the time frame. It did not last long. Progressively got more demented in their power and control over the prisoners. And the hive mindset spread. It started with one of them treating the prisoners like subhuman, and then it spread to all of the prison guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that. They actually did that in ape study where they put bananas above a pedestal. And the first time an ape went after it, they punished the apes. All of them got sprayed with fire hoses, I believe. Like, they really fucked the apes up over it.
I remember you telling me about
And then it got to the point where every time one of them went for the bananas, they knew they were all get sprayed. And eventually a new ape would come in and go for the bananas, and they would beat the fuck out of it because they didn't want to get punished for that ape's behavior. That is human psychology. We do that to each other. I don't like your coat, so let me belittle you and make you feel guilty, and looking inward, I'm not good enough to wear a coat like that, or what the fuck was I thinking? This is stupid. Then you are going to do the same thing because your dream of wearing that coat got shit on. How dare someone else do that? That starts in the home.
How dare somebody else have the confidence to be different like I didn't?
Right. That starts at the house. I believe that starts with creating or destroying the creator in us.
Very young, because children start being creative. 2, 3 years old? They start singing.
They do it as soon as they're able to walk.
Yeah.
As kids start looking at things and moving them. Do you remember being little and the world just being so huge?
Vast.
Everything was big, right? Like I found my home that I grew up in on Google Maps. We looked at it the other night. I didn't, in my head, that house is massive.
Yeah.
It's less than 1,000 square feet. It's the size of our gym. Was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with a 2-car garage that was detached on the back. That 2-car garage was a huge part of my childhood. It's not big. It's nowhere near as big as I remember it being. Because the world is so fucking unknown and massive and limitless when you're a child. And then as you become a teenager and life is starting to kick you in the fucking teeth, you think you fucking know everything, and you really truly don't. You have sculpted your world based off of the very harsh influences that have come your way, because it's got to be cultivated. Right. All of that, even your bad behavior is cultivated to a degree by your parents and the people around you, or your hive mind social circles. The reason I brought that up is because I remember how vast everything was when I was little. I remember playing in elephant ear trees because I was so small that I could run around in, something that I would just be able to stand over top of now. But like at 3, 5, 7, 8 years old, that's just normal shit for a kid. And having the innocence of the world, I equate that to the neurological connections that happen when you take psilocybin or you're on some sort of psychedelic. Because everything has so much more meaning when those neurons connect. Jordan B. Peterson was talking about this on the Sean Ryan show, and about the way that our neurons are blocked, and they're not all connected. They're connected to some, but they're not
all integrated.
Right. And when you take psychedelics, those now become new neural pathways, which is why I believe people like Paul Stamets and the things that he's doing and the research that he's done with psilocybin has been able to regain things. Like you if you guys have not watched it, watch
Fantastic Fungi.
The Fantastic Fungi. He talks about people who were losing their hearing, who were able to hear perfectly fine while they were on a psychedelic. And so in all of that, I know because of our experiences while doing those things, and I'm not advocating for you guys to take drugs. This is just speaking
Personal
on
experience.
us. If you decide that you want to do anything like that, you need to consult doctors and like
research.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing. We're having a conversation about the children-like mind, the way that that's perceived, and I just want to touch on this because you're going to relate to it. Okay?
Yeah.
When we take heroic doses or even small doses, and we are making more connections in our neurological pathways, we are able to think deeper. I believe that, and I don't know if science can prove this, but as we have others' thoughts and views forced upon us, we stop using the parts of our brain that was once connected to those neural pathways, and it doesn't get used anymore. It becomes atrophied almost.
It shuts down.
Right.
Yeah,
because
that would make sense.
You don't use it,
judgment.
you lose it.
Yeah.
You remember that in the 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes.
Is it true that if I don't use it, I'll lose it? I think that innocence matters. Right? I'm going to come back to this conversation, but I messaged Nick Bland today.
Okay.
Nick is one of my friends, guys. He's another dungeon master who is a D&D nerd like I am. And though Nick and I don't talk all the time, I truly respect him as a man. He's a man of faith. There's a whole lot there. I don't know why we don't ever hang out or talk the way that we do, but every time we do talk, it's like 4 or 5 hours of back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I don't hear from him for like 7 months. And it's like, hey man, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Right? So it's a real friendship because we're able to pick up where we left off like nothing happened. I messaged him today.
Okay.
Because he is a DM.
Right.
Which means he gets to play God in the worlds that he creates because he homebrews everything. And I said, if I was to say to you, be the creator, how would you take it and what does it mean to you? He said, I would take it as not to just press upon people what you feel is needed, see a need, fill a need. Then he wrote in a separate message like 15 minutes later because I didn't reply. I wanted him to stew on it.
Right.
Few influence are made by just imposing their views onto those who already have a platform. If you have an earnest heart and you feel strongly about it, be the initiator. And that's where he took to be a creator because that's his world building as a DM. I truly believe that's how he views the creative process. He actually wants to go get sushi soon, but
oh, I love sushi.
Yeah, me too.
Avocado sushi.
Well, we'll get to meet his wife, and he's got a baby now.
sushi.
So, yep.
Give me the baby.
Okay, so I'm gonna segue off of that because I have more about.
Okay, hang on. I need a pause.
Okay. Okay, so back to this. I wrote, "You are not your music. You are not your art. You are not your job. You are not your photography. You are not your parents. You are not your children. You are the creator of your own existence." And I wrote that before that dude left that victim mentality, I can't do it mindset comment on my post. And then I saw that and it solidified the need to talk about it because I wasn't sure I wanted to go there. I don't think that, first, let me say, I don't think that everybody can be a content creator or a world famous artist or a world famous photographer, but you can create because you enjoy it.
Right.
You know how many people that make TikToks that never get seen by the masses just because they enjoy making content?
It's fun for them, yeah.
It is a creative process. There's nothing fucking wrong with that. You have to have a personality. You have to have something that's, if you create a carbon copy of Peter McKinnon and try to do what Peter McKinnon does, why are they going to watch the carbon copy? Peter McKinnon has already done it. He's got 6 million followers on YouTube. He's a photographer, video guy. He's super like, we don't need another Peter McKinnon. We need another you. But you need to find out who the fuck you are instead of trying to copy what other people are doing to find success. We're not doing anything that anybody else has done. We're not watching content like ours. We are just doing what we're doing and people fuck with it. So for people who are trying to follow in the footsteps of the Tim the Tatman video game guy or the Dr. Disrespect, who I didn't even know who the fuck that was until like 3 days ago because I was watching Call of Duty shit. You can't do that. That shtick is done already. It's like trying to become Andy Warhol. He had his run. That Ansel Adams, that landscape black and white and the way that he edited was pioneering shit. So many people have tried to be that. You're not going to be that. That's done already. You have to find something that makes you happy and makes you passionate and is yours in order to create and to be a creative if you want to do it for a living.
Right.
Sometimes turning your passion into a living destroys your passion.
It does.
Photography did that for me. I hated photography for a long fucking time, and I'm really starting to I want to go, right? And I'm starting to research cameras again, and I'm watching editing videos, and I'm starting to watch landscape stuff, and I know we have trips coming up. And because I've exhausted Florida, I want to do pictures of stupid shit, like that outlet right there. I bet I could take a dope-ass photo of that power outlet and make it creative and make it look like something cool where people would be like, damn, I would have never looked at that from that angle, right? It's not going to evoke emotion. It could. If there was nothing else in this room and it was just a long fucking wall with a single power outlet on it, it would make you feel alone and isolated, right? So I could do that, but I've done that. So it's not exciting for me. Now it's about finding God's landscape and going, yo, I see what you fucking did here. Let me show it to everybody.
Right.
Right. And that's where my excitement for photography comes. And the idea of getting up and going back over to Jupiter, I'm about it. We have the bikes. Get throw them bitches in the van, fucking. I don't have to walk in that sand, babe.
Yeah.
Especially if it's cold outside. We can just ride in the fucking,
That was so difficult.
It sucked.
Oh,
It
gosh.
sucked so bad. It was 14 degrees out there the day that we went.
And my nose would not stop pouring.
Yeah, it was rough. But so that kind of thing, there are things that I will always be okay with taking photos of: sunrises, sunsets, animals, bees, mountains, mountainscapes, water, not ocean, but water reflections, things like that are still dope for me. But anyways, when you make something that you're passionate about become a job, the dependence on the hive mind to reach your levels of success can destroy your passion. So you have to be careful with making your passion your job. We are experiencing this to a degree with the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to do this to help people. This was all about giving people the tools that we had to find so they don't have to look so hard for it. Because maybe they don't know they need the tools.
tool.
And we might say something, they'd be like, wait, what the fuck that guy just say? Or, oh, excuse me, bitch, what did you say? Because people be like, you attacked the shit on me on this one, right? So I think that matters. And then being able to separate your passion or your want to create and build from the hive mind mentality and not chase the reactions of others, because that is ultimately what we're doing. We are chasing the reaction of other people by creating art and putting the art out there, which is scary. it's scary. It's
Yeah.
hard. What were you gonna say?
So I just covered something that is akin to this in my garden segment for the 4 agreements. And something that we are taught in childhood is to seek attention from others. And a lot of the time that attention is praise.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are trained the same way that we train dogs
Yep.
because guess what, guys? We're animals.
Mm-hmm.
So when a child does something that a parent likes, there's praise. When a child does something that they don't like, there's punishment. So there is a double fear there now. There is the fear of punishment and there's the fear of not receiving the reward.
Yep.
And the reward always boils down to attention.
Adlerian psychology talks on this pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yep. And they say that since we're talking about books, and the courage to be disliked, this is a conversation that comes up. It might be in the courage to be happy, but he said that all of the praise that we give children removes our ability to allow them to be their own human.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, instead of doing the things that makes them happy,
They're seeking the praise.
they're doing things to make others happy, and then they are creating their self-worth on the opinions of others, which creates the hive mind.
Right.
Right. So all of that shit ties in. I'm gonna have to read the 4 agreements again. It's been a while, but
I'm
think
doing the book breakdown
Yeah.
if you want to watch the...
I would rather read the book and then talk to you about it.
Okay.
But I think that would be an us thing. I get more from a discussion with you than I get from hearing
Reading
your
the book.
videos.
Yeah.
Because I can interrupt you and we can have a quick discussion, and like
Yeah.
those interactions are so much more important for my progress as a human being than reading a book.
Yeah.
I've always referred to them as golden nuggets. The golden nugget exists in all kinds of things. It's not
does.
just books, it's interactions. However, if I can get a gold nugget or a fucking gold boulder, I'm going for the boulder. You
Yeah.
can call it greed if you want to. I want the boulder. And that's why I think the communities that we're creating matter so much. The men's group and the women's group, being able to build on that, and the community that comes with that is going to help people way more than you and I ever could.
Are you moving on?
No, I'm going to let
Okay.
you finish because you still got stuff. See?
So 2 things that I wanted to touch on that I thought of in everything that you just said. I tried to tell the kids as much as I can, I'm happy that you're happy.
Yeah.
Even if they do something where I'm like, oh my gosh, because I will do this to the children. Like they're sticky and they're trying to touch me, but they're having fun being sticky. I'm glad you guys are having fun. Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. I'm so happy you guys are happy. Bye. Like, right? I still try to cultivate that without being, I'm thoroughly disgusted. Please don't fucking touch me. But I'm trying to be goofy about it. So like they see that I'm trying to make them laugh, but like I'm really being serious. Don't touch me. But I'm really happy that you guys are having fun.
Right.
And then the second thing that I wanted to touch on was you said you can get a golden nugget out of anything. And I got a golden nugget out of a sign that was forcing me to merge onto the interstate.
Right. See? You never know where those thoughts are going to come from. However, we are put in a position where we have to think creatively every day.
We do.
We have cultivated an artist mindset.
It's exhausting.
It is. And it's scary as fuck because every time we have a new idea and we bounce it off of each other, we have to worry about how the public is going to perceive that.
Right.
And though some of it may help people, some of it may get us hate. And the criticism is always so much harder on us than the love. And it's going to be like that for anyone who creates. If you create something that you're truly proud of, right? You're ready to display this fucking thing that you've made. And you show it to your friend and they're like, oh yeah, cool. And they look at their phone and start ignoring what you've shown them.
I would rip it up in front of them.
It destroys who you are. Like you don't, and this comes to validation and praise.
And attention.
Right? So if you were to recognize that even if it's not the best picture ever taken, but they enjoy that picture and it's making them happy, you should be happy that your friend or that your person is happy. That shows empathy. And it's no longer about the task of
making me happy.
Well, no, that's exactly what it is. It's no longer about the task of creating art. It's the task of being human to each other.
Right. No, I meant because we were touching on children no longer do things for themselves. They do things to get the praise of the parent.
Right. At that point, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't take it that way.
I'm glad I elaborated.
I did too. Because, we weren't on the same page. I don't know, man. I really think that's... I'm really on some shit with this today. I think that a lot of this also will tie into the victim mentality people and the ones who believe the life is completely out of their control.
Oh, yeah.
And that stems from parents crushing their, you can be anything you want to be. Oh, you want to be an astronaut? No, you need to be a lawyer. That's a lot more realistic. You'll never go to space. Oh, you want to be a brain surgeon? It's too much school. You're going to be a plumber. Go be a plumber. Right? Like,
Right.
how is that going to aid in anyone? Oh, you want to be a singer? You can't sing. You
Don't
sound
quit
like
your day job.
You sound like two cats fighting a ferret on meth. Don't do that. Go put your headphones on and lock yourself in a closet that's padded so that I don't have to hear that, right? Like, there's a whole lot that can come into crushing that. However, there are also weird things. Like, we don't even realize that those weird things are enough to destroy someone's self-esteem. You talk about when you were a kid, in an earlier episode, way earlier on, you said that maybe it even wasn't to you, but it was oh, you're going to wear that? Do you remember that conversation that we had? Does that trigger anything for your thought process?
I would have to hear the context of it.
What I remember from that is
that what I said verbatim? Or?
Yeah. Oh, you're going to wear that? And then you said that even though you were totally vibing with what you were wearing and happy about it, because somebody said that, it's going to make you second guess your outfit.
I've been told that a couple of times, so I can't remember the specific instance.
Yeah. It might not even have been you having it. It could have been something that we were discussing and you were like, that would make me feel like.
Yeah.
I don't remember the conversation, but I know you've said that.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, though, those, oh, cool. And then looking down, or, oh, you're going to wear that? Oh, what's wrong with that? Nothing. Just curious.
I wouldn't wear that.
Right. So you are taking away the human experience from people.
Right.
And Big Daddy, the kid goes to school dressed like Scuba Steve or whatever. And he's like, you're going to wear that to school? And the kid's like, yeah. And he's like, why? And he's like, nothing. Have at it, bro. Wear it to school. You're the one that's going to get made fun of, or however he worded that. And the kid wore it to school. And his friends thought it was so fucking cool that he was able to dress however he wants. Because when you're a kid, you don't give a fuck about looking cool. You don't give a fuck about that. Like, I remember being a kid and like my mom actually worrying about like my hairstyle. I don't give a fuck about my hair. Like, who gives a fuck? I'm going to be running around a playground playing with my friends in freeze tag. And like the last thing I need to be worried about is what my fucking hair looks like.
Right.
I'm a guy. Why the fuck should I be worried about my hair anyways? I miss my hair now. I worry about it all the time because it's left me.
Yeah.
Ungrateful fuck. I carried it most of my life before it decided to leave.
That was beautifully strung together. Did you just think of that? I can tell you dwell on it.
I do because I'm losing it up here. And if I had the ability to grow hair, I would look like a mixture of Shirley Temple and Opie from Sons of Anarchy. Because I naturally have Shirley Temple curls.
I know. I've seen the pictures.
So
I almost
stupid.
said photos and pictures at the same time.
Yeah.
I've seen the photos.
The folkshires.
Folkshires.
The pictotos.
Guys, getting together for the Pictoto. Perfect.
All right. We're almost an hour in, so I want to move on to the next thing. I only have 2 more notes.
Okay. Are you hungry?
I am actually.
How do you feel about Outback?
I'll eat a burger.
Okay.
I wrote on here the destruction of the creator in us. And I feel like I've covered that a lot now, so maybe I'm not going to go into that anymore.
Yeah, I think you.
I do want to just touch on one more time before I get into that the idea of we can't do something, I think falls into the destruction of the creator in us. And I really think that the amount of people out there who believe they'll never be able to buy a house because the market sucks.
Oh, it's too far away. I won't be able to reach that. Would you mind grabbing that for me, please? Because it triggered a thought in me.
The Kindle or the book?
The book. Thank you.
I'll wait until you're done looking.
No, you're fine. You can go ahead and keep speaking.
Sorry, what I was saying was she made me get up and get her book, guys. I'm just going to leave that in so you can see exactly why I have to start over. The idea that we are not able to buy a house because the market sucks, right? It costs more to buy a house than it ever did. My mom posted something in 1977. The average cost of a car was $600. The cost of the house was $16,000 or something like that. When looking at my childhood home was built for $33,000 and sold for $65,000, and it's now going for $400,000. Do you know what minimum wage was when my house was sold?
The childhood home? Minimum wage. $2.18.
$3.75.
Ah,
Right?
right.
And that was a McDonald's job.
Wow.
So now you can work at McDonald's and make $17, $18 an hour. Well, if it's jumped that much, of course the housing market has jumped that much. You can't say
Well, McDonald's is not meant to be a career.
it's not. Well, and minimum wage was never meant to be a wage that you can survive off of. It's a minimum.
Entry level, yeah.
Yeah, it's the least amount that I'm willing to pay you for a job. However, somewhere along the lines, people believe that you're supposed to be able to live on a minimum wage job. Factory workers